Hello, and welcome back to Jacksonville Stadium, Lacrosse fans, for this third game of the 2018 Brogden Cup between USA and Canada. We have some better weather here today in this third game, and the players are getting ready to take the field here to get started. It's going to be an exciting day here with Tim King and Brian Duncan broadcasting from the booth here. And what do you think, Brian? You think the USA team is going to have a chance to take one of these games? They lost the first two.
Well, every team I've ever seen from Rochester never gives up. So I think a Coach Whipple team is going to come out and give their best effort today, and I do believe they're going to give them a fight again, just like they did in the first two games.
Yeah, I think the story in this third game, after seeing the Canadian offense, is stopping this attack of Cormier and Knox and Dawick. The goalies for US, Haluka and Cuddy, did a great job. They've had great stats, but I think it's going to take a team defense to try and keep those three guys off the board.
Well, I think their best defense could be a great offense today, being a little more patient, not turning the ball over and giving so many opportunities up to the Canada team coming down the field and just being able to possess the ball and work their offense.
Yeah, agreed. I think fundamentals of not throwing the ball away, time of possession, those things in a tight game like they had the last two games can mean the difference. And if they can clean that up, then they'll have a better chance to use that offense as defense.
Well, this is the best start they've had in the first quarter. Here we go again, dropping the ball and creating a turnover.
And there's just a little bit of pressure there by that Canadian midfielder, and really there's no reason to lose passes like that. They've got to feel more confidence in their stick passing ability just to get the ball around the horn.
Yeah, Canada's very slow with their clear with the international rules. They're very patient in the way they move the ball down the field. And a lot of times they actually, through their patience, create transition in the clearing game.
Yeah, that's been a story of this international rules for this cup. The patience of the clearing and the sending cutters and playing the midfield line, I think that's really what has helped Canada through that. And U.S. has constantly pushed their clears a bit, and that's led to some turnovers.
Well, and it leads to the change in the game. The Americans are used to having a time clock to move the ball down the field, and so they're already in a time situation in their head on every clear.
Yeah, well, Cuddy answers that one with the first save of the game.
Yeah, they got a little 5-on-4 here.
Looks like they have numbers. See what they do
hit
here.
The trail.
All right, now maybe just possession after they missed that pass. A lot of times on a 5-on-4 situation like that, you want to move the ball down the side, get it through X, and then see the cutters. Another fundamental part that hopefully they employ later in the game today.
Yeah, there's a lot of different styles with the way people run that 5-on-4 break. Sometimes they like to leave everybody above the goal line. Different coaches use different ways of running that 5-on-4. It looked like they were running one with a trail and trying to spin the ball back to the backside for the 2-on-1.
Gotcha. Well, the parents are set up here in their Adirondack chairs along the sideline. It's been a great environment here in North Florida at Jacksonville University. The weather was not so nice. They were braving the weather the last two games. Looks a bit better today, and they still have their jackets on, but it's a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, it's nice when the rain's not coming down with the cold.
Yeah, we're not really used to that down here in Florida.
I don't think it's rained in 45 days.
So here's Kelly with a dodge and kind of an outside shot. He's been one of their offensive forces in the last two games. We'll start with the ball behind here. Let's see if they go for one-on-one or a pick play game. Evan seeing if he can't beat his defender. He had a couple sneaky goals in the last game hiding his stick, and they get the ball to Kelly for a big rip. He just misses the target.
Yeah, I really like how Ian Evans works that corner and uses his speed and uses his body. Even though he's a smaller guy, he's not afraid of contact, and especially when he gets those short stick matchups, he feels very confident over there. We just had another drop at the top of the box.
Just standing still.
Those are the mistakes that just can't happen if the U.S. wants to pull one of these games out.
Yeah, you see that little flick play by the defender? I mean, the savvy that Canada has had of where to just get the ball, even if it's not a pass to a player, it's to a space on the field where they know there's not pressure. And that makes it a lot easier on their teammates to handle a ball without pressure. USA is standing still and letting Canada come out and impose their will on them a bit. Even if it's not a strong will, it's enough to make them lose the ball. So Canada sets up here in their offensive set. It's a 6-on-6.
You know, Peyton Cormier is the leading scorer this weekend, or this week at the Brogden Cup. He's got 10 goals and 2 assists going into this game. He has been a real presence.
Yeah, I don't think they give an MVP, but from this broadcast booth, I think it would be unanimous on the vote of the MVP of this series, even though we still have this full game to play.
You know, we were talking about that Canadian attack. You know, those 2 more guys that are going to big-time Division I programs as well. I think Knox is going to Hobart, and Daywick is looking at Denver.
And Cormier going to Virginia.
Cormier going to Virginia. So that's a pretty stout attack. If you create any type of transition from the defensive end to the offensive end, you really can't make a mistake down there.
Yeah, as a coach right now, the Whipples are probably happy that the score is still just 0-0 with that attack on the field.
Well, even though the U.S. hasn't gotten a lot of good shots, they did possess the ball for about 3 out of that first 5 minutes, so that's kind of the good start to the game for them. Make this Canadian attack have to not touch the ball as much.
Yeah, that helps build confidence and momentum.
You know, Knox and Cormier hooked up on that play last night with him coming down the backside with that behind the back from Knox.
Oh,
really nice.
Unfortunate. That goes in the goal. It was a pass to Cormier, who had pressure on him from the goalie, Cuddy, and the defender. It ricocheted off his stick and ended up in the cage.
Yeah, that's just unfortunate. That was pretty good defense, and when a ball deflects in the goal, you just got to forget about it and make the next play.
Oh, it looked like it actually went off his helmet instead of the stick. Is that a Canadian play? Do they ricochet it off the helmet like that? Or
looked like a hockey play to me.
They're smart. They're wicked smart.
A little one-touch.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think they'll credit that goal to Cormier, even though it wasn't like his past goals, shooting it with his stick.
It was a nice little slash on the leg, it looked like, and looked like Cormier wasn't happy about that.
There. A little payback for that slash, but
yeah, the guy that always responds to the play is the one that gets caught, and that happened again in this situation.
Yeah, Noah Anderson, I think, was just trying to let Cormier know he was there, and he's the guy who's supposed to be guarding him. And then after that slash, he got sandwiched. So little street justice, and USA has the ball, but they're gonna end up on the power play once they lose possession or score, because that's probably a personal foul that they called.
It's a good way to be patient and just.
Kelly with a left-handed dodge.
Haven't seen many left-handed shots out of Kelly this weekend, but that was a nice little move top side and got a quality shot on cage.
Yeah, use his size to get over the top. So right now they could start the play here. Again, we're talking about the refs, and I'm not really certain. When Haz was here, he knows the international rules a lot better, but it seems like the refs sometimes stop to talk about what the call is, and they don't start the play right away, which in international rules, my understanding is they want to keep that pace of play running fast with the clock moving the whole time as well, but
it's been a little slow on the starts. I think it's supposed to be when the man runs off the field and sits in his seat. That's the time of the penalty starts the second he sits down. But the U.S. could get the ball in their sticks outside the box and start play as soon as that whistle is blown for that pause.
Yeah, I mean, my understanding is they only have to wait for him to be in the chair to start the actual play. That's part of that advantage that international rules that you can look for if you're savvy to it. Good movement here by U.S. and the ball stalls there.
Good look inside.
Good look inside. Nice. That's
Great
a goal.
Ian Evans to Collins, it looked like.
Yeah, so Cian Collins gets the goal inside from in the crease. Evans with one of those nice, nifty passes. His stick is so smooth, how he shoots and how he passes. Just delivers a pass without anybody knowing kind of where it's going.
Yeah, Evans and Collins have been big scorers all week for the USA team. I think that's the 5th goal for Collins, and might be the 3rd assist here for Evans during the week, with 6 goals on top of that. So he's got 9 points this week. It's been a great week for him.
Yeah, so this is, I think it looks like Evans, is that right here? There, he's the leading leading scorer. He's got 8 points.
Now he's got 9 with that assist.
With 9, followed by number 7, Sammy Tamalaris. Is that right? No, that's supposed to be Barilla.
Philip Barilla.
That's Barilla. So he's got
3 goals
and 5 assists. He's been a playmaker. There he is working for the ball right now. He's actually been good on the wings as well with Lattori, and both of them fighting there. See if they can't come up with it. Nope. Little push, and it's going to be Canada ball.
Canada with a quick start, getting the ball back on their offensive end. Subbing the players on the fly out of the box. It's 1-for-1 when you're playing live in a lacrosse game. You got to sub 1 man out, 1 man in.
Yeah, international rules, it's all the time on the field except for during penalties. There's that give and go to the inside hand, like you were saying.
Yeah, that's a little different than the way the Americans run their give and goes, but that's a great way of running, because when you do catch it on that give and go, your stick's to the inside, and you got the whole 6-foot cage to finish on.
Yeah, and I think that combination of 13 Moyer from Knox has been their look for that. It's the inside give and go. The USA guys have had trouble staying in front of who's that, Moyer, staying in front of him as he's cutting.
Well, he looks like he's going to set a pick, and then he just slips to the inside, and he has his stick out in front. And if you don't position yourself properly up front, in the beginning of that play, he's got a step on you every time.
And that pass from Knox, it was kind of like a little lob into the area. I mean, he didn't have to put it just straight on their stick. These guys feel very confident putting a pass into the right place, even when a player's covered.
Well, and that open set has a big open area in that crease, and if you're not pinching that backside on defense and at least bringing one inside to kind of help out with those scenarios, it's a big open area there to cut to.
He doesn't have to be afraid of anybody coming. He can sell out for catching the ball.
And finishing.
Yeah, and finishing. Yep, and he actually finished that one on a bounce shot. Nice lefty to the far side, bounced it up and in.
But if you watch his body motion as he's scoring, he's going at the goal instead of behind the goal, which a lot of times young players, they make that mistake of thinking they can slip it in right at the goal line extended, and they fall away from the goal behind instead of taking the extra step to the front of the cage and getting 6 feet to shoot at.
Yeah, agreed.
Well, with a 2-1 game here with 2 minutes and 40 seconds left in the first quarter, I think, the U.S. should be happy with the way they've come out and competed in this first quarter. It'd be nice for them to get a goal on the board here at the end and go into that second quarter even.
Yep.
Great double team early. They come very early, and they're very physical when they come on that slide.
Let's see if he can find open guy. They got the slide. Kelly with a shot.
It was contested. 17 had a great poke check on that bottom hand, and it just interrupted that shot just enough to put it right in the goalie's stick, and now they're in the clear.
Well, they at least worked for a good shot there. I mean, seeing offense where it hits at least 3 guys' sticks is a lot better than the one-on-one stuff they started with.
A nice turnover here on the ride. Kelly got it back for him.
They're fighting for it.
Just missed a ground ball, that's all.
Yeah.
Those ground balls, first-time ground balls are very, very important in the game of lacrosse. You want to touch it, you want to get it up and get it to an open teammate as soon as you get it off the ground.
So they're going to get the ball to Cormier here, who's going to maybe initiate this offensive set. You get those big lefty sweeps. Here he comes. If he can get to his spot, he's dangerous shooting there.
That was good defense.
They did a good job staying on his hip and pushing him.
Yep, and not selling out and trying to stop him with their stick. They kept using their body and grinding on that low hip. And anytime you get to that low hip, you can usually control a bigger guy.
See, USA here finding the open guy to initially give him the ball, but no one coming back to him for the next pass.
Yeah,
have that long
it
pole.
looked like there was a player in the middle of the field wide open. He just didn't see him and tried to carry it up the sideline.
Latore. I really think Latore needed to make him aware that he's open. He had his head down and was carrying. Yeah. But that's been the story for the clearing game with USA. If they could find the combination of passes to get the ball out.
Well, it's been the glitch I guess the last 2 days has been the turnovers in the clearing game. Another strong Dodger. That's great defense. He stayed up on his top shoulder, got to his hip, threw the hard check when the guy was trying to feed on the bottom hand. That was great defense because of his footwork. He established himself early with great footwork.
And really just looking for the lift there. He didn't go for the check, nothing over the head, no swing of the stick. Just keep pushing on the hip and lifting. That's basic fundamentals, which seems to be the best defense against this Canadian team.
Yeah, I think anytime you go for stick checks against the Canadians, you're putting yourself in jeopardy because if one slide happens, the ball movement's so quick, and the guys are just so talented in what they know where to look as soon as the mistake happens. They're very fast with their decision making.
Yeah, well, that wraps up the first quarter, 2-1, and the Whipple coaches over there have to be happy with that first quarter. Compared to yesterday, it was 6-0 going out of the first quarter. They did a great job matching up and defending. Better time of possession. There were a couple turnovers, but not as much as the first quarter last game. So they've got to be happy with that, and they've got a chip on their shoulder to make sure they get one win here down in Florida.
That's a proud group over there on that sideline. I know Coach Whipple and both the Whipples, they're very, very competitive guys, and I know that they've put a burn into the belly of these guys to come out and compete and represent their state, represent their country, represent their city. They're very proud in upstate New York where these guys are coming from.
Yep. So we are going to come back in a couple minutes, 2 minutes, or a minute and a half here for the second quarter of this final third game of the Brogden Cup. See you in a few.
For over 30 years, Cascade has been the most trusted helmet in lacrosse. Introducing the Cascade S. The pinnacle of protection, comfort, and vision. Cascade, passion to protect.
Hey, welcome back here. We are still got about 30 seconds to get into this second quarter. USA is coming back with a good first quarter and looking to do some more of the same. They're down by 1 goal right now, but the way they've been playing, I think they should have an opportunity to stay right in this game.
Yeah, the Canadians aren't going to make it easy. I love the way they're playing their defensive game plan. They've really pressured adjacent passes all week, and it's caused problems on these clears, and it's caused problems in set offense. They really press out ball side, which is something I feel is a great fundamental when teams are trying to clear. Don't give up that easy pass down the side of the field. It takes all the pressure off of the guy carrying the ball down, and you get it into your money makers, those attackmen. You get it in their hands.
Especially on the face-off.
That was a big face-off for the U.S. to start this quarter. They just got to keep the ball off the turf a little bit more.
Yeah, big sweeping shot, and I think sometimes you can make that shot, but it's ill-advisable if you haven't run some offense yet.
Well, the issue was he got too low in his angle, and when you drop your hands and drop your stick further away, I mean, the goalie only had to make a save on a 1-foot section of the goal. So it hurts you when you run away from the cage and try to shoot back at it when you drop your hands like that.
Yeah, Brett Dobson's a bit better goalie than that. He just stepped right to it and easy pickoff. But looks like Eric's
that's a great shot. Right off the ground, kind of came off the goalie's helmet up in the top right corner.
Evans, again, hiding his stick on that shot. I think that both goalies from Canada, when they're facing Evans, they can't see the stick, and all of a sudden the ball's coming out, and it's going to good places.
Oh, that's a great shot. He put the ball right at the defenseman's foot, bounced off the turf, so now instead of it being a low shot, it's actually rising to the top corner. That's a very gifted shot right there. He's been great all week.
He may have never seen that ball.
No.
I mean, the way that the reaction was, it might have just had that nice bounce, or he didn't even get a chance to see it.
I think it's the third goal that Evans has had that the goalie hasn't seen because of the way he delivers the ball at that low angle behind his defenseman. Then he comes right off their ankles. It's really hard to pick up the ball.
Yeah.
Especially with defensemen wearing white shoes. You know, those guys he's shooting it and they can't find the ball until it's too late.
Yeah.
Good double team in the midfield. They look like they've come out in this quarter and they're ready to play.
They are. Barilla again with a ground ball. Him and Latore have been the story on the wing play, I think. That they've been real scrappy trying to get the U.S. the advantage in the face-offs.
I love when the ball comes down the side and spins through action. You turn defensemen's heads and you get them a little bit off kilter as far as where their positioning is on the field.
Yep. To their big man, Kelly. He's initiating, finding Evans inside. Good look, getting it back on the perimeter.
That little give and go. Could have given it right back to Evans there, but they just missed that a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, question
nice.
mark
I
shot.
like the question mark. He got to the 5-5, and that's a good spot to run that play.
That's Reamer. He's got 6 goals on the event here for the Brogden Cup.
He's been a goal scorer. Unfortunately, he had Reamer in front, but he hit the net instead of getting it past him to the inside player that was open. Little turnover, but that was good offense. They really put some pressure on the team.
They rode and got the ball back on the last one, Coach Duncan, and now they put pressure on again, and Canada has to take a timeout.
Yeah.
So USA being aggressive on the ride, it's paying off. So we have a timeout here by Canada. The score is 2-2, 11:39 in the second quarter. Just to recap a little bit of the week's events, we have the USA girls team. It's a U17 team. Played their 3 games against Canada. First day, the Canadian team won 13-3. The second game was 15-6, and the third game 15-3. So looked like Canada brought down their full force, the U17 girls, to take on this Brogden Cup this year. The U.S. team made up from the National Lacrosse Classic again in the summer. Tryout system is the same. The Legacy Global Sports goes around to about 16 different states and holds tryouts. Those girls represent that state and that team in the National Lacrosse Classic over the summer. And this year the Southeast region won that, made up of girls from Virginia and Georgia, a couple other states sprinkled in, and that was the team that came down here to represent USA for the girls. For the boys, we had U15 age group. The U.S. team was represented by the Carolina team from North and some South Carolina players, I believe, and they won the event, same tryout process around the country, accumulating in the National Lacrosse Classic in the summer, and the Carolina boys team won that event, so they came down and represented the U.S. They did very well. Their first game, they won 9-8 against the Canadian boys. The second game, they had a 10-9 overtime win in that game, and then the third game, they won 11-6. So U15 boys really doing it for USA down here in Florida.
Great little double team right there by the U.S. The ball got kind of stuck on the left side of the field there, and too many moves in one spot, and the ball came out, and now U.S. is moving the ball down in transition, and it looks like they might have numbers here if they push it a little. Here comes a cutter right down the middle if he sees it. Canada did a nice job of stopping that break, being a number down. Canada's very aggressive on the defense. They love to jump the double teams anytime a guy leaves a man close enough to jump. And that's been fun to watch this week. You can hear the communication there from the goalie, Dobson. He's really communicating to his defense on how to talk and how to be and what position they need to be in to play. And you see the look away call whenever they dodge and get that first slide. Defenses have to look away and find what's away from them because there's usually a 3-on-2 or something on the backside.
Yeah, key component there too, communication and really leadership from a goaltender. They can really help by being a talker. You get good goalies who can stop the ball, but the one that can communicate and be a leader for the defense really takes them to another level.
And the clearing game becomes very important as you come into higher competition. That clearing game becomes ultra important.
So just to go over some of the U15 stats here for the boys, some of the point leaders for Canada. Jackson Webster had 5 goals and 3 assists. Adrian Maroney with 4 goals and 1 assist. For the USA team, looks like we had DJ Barton with 8 goals. Emmett Houlihan with 4 goals and 2 assists. Jackson Price with 4 goals and 1 assist. And Tate Jones with 2 goals and 3 assists. So there's some of the rising stars coming out of Canada and the U.S. playing in this Brogden Cup for the U15 boys.
Coach, that look right there from Canada was incredible. They brought the ball down that right side of the field, and the ex-attackman screamed to the front of the cage, stick up. They hit him right on his stick. He turns around and throws it down with a low backhanded shot, and the goalie made an incredible save right on the goal line.
Well, again, some good live action here in this second quarter. We haven't broken the ice yet with a goal with 8 minutes remaining, but both these teams playing hard.
Well, both teams have had good looks already, too.
Yeah, this Brogden Cup, talking about the possible unofficial MVP, Peyton Cormier, this is actually his 3rd Brogden Cup. We talked to the Long Island coach who represented USA last year, and he thought that Cormier was the reason why Canada took the cup last year with Cormier. And the year before, Canada actually lost the cup, I believe. Do you know what team was down here 3 years ago? So not last year. I think it was Ohio, right?
Yep.
But showing some of the diversity of lacrosse in our country, with Ohio coming down, and I think beating Canada.
Long Island and then Rochester. So 3 different teams in the last 3 years.
I'll try and confirm that officially. So Canada actually won last 2 years.
Turnover right there by Canada, so U.S. back with the ball in the clear. And it looked like a pretty good play there. He got manhandled out of bounds. And
so actually confirming now that Ohio actually lost. So this is Cormier's 3rd Brogden Cup that he has won for the boys. He gets an assist there, getting the ball down to Darwick.
It's been a pretty good combination all week.
Yeah, yeah. So 3-2, the Canada team takes the lead again, and good back and forth there. I think we're seeing great play on the field.
Well, it came off a great play by Pesco in that ride. I mean, he D'd the guy up on the sideline, knocked him to the ground, ball went out of bounds. They pick up the ball with a quick whistle, and next thing you know, it's a 2-on-1 with Cormier to Dawick.
So again, fighting on the face-offs. They got different personnel out there for the U.S. this time.
It's been a good battle all week. These two have been about 50-50 throughout this week in the competition here.
Yeah, the LSM out there was Noah Arneson on the wing. Knox with that big lefty dodge, same as Cormier. He doesn't find the cage there.
Yeah, he's a big body, and he's very strong and very confident with that left hand. If you don't take it away, he's going to go right past you, right through your stick check and get a great shot off. He's been scoring all weekend and setting other guys up a lot with the hockey assist.
Yeah, they're giving them that left side again. They really need to take their position and defense to start by taking away that left hand.
Right.
You can't try and earn it back later, I don't think, especially against a big body like that. So you really got to start in the right position. Now, they do have the under move that they like to use a lot. So you got to watch for that as they kind of face dodge and try and get underneath of you. But then you keep them in a non-passing position. You keep grinding on the hip and push them to the inside. Hopefully you get a slide there.
Yeah, their hands aren't free as much, and they can't make as quick a pass But they're pretty crafty with the way they get their hands free.
They
in those
definitely
scenarios.
can make a pass.
Yes.
It might not be as easy. Right. Good point.
That's a push right there they should get.
So, Brian, we're joined here with the director of lacrosse for Legacy Global Sports, Joel Franklin, in the booth with us again. So, how you feeling about this week? Looked like it went very well and very competitive in the U15 age group. I think even though USA didn't win the first 2 games, they were very exciting, competitive games.
Yeah, anytime you bring together the Canada and the United States into lacrosse competition, it's going to be competitive.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I think that this Brogden Cup, and I don't have the stats in front of me, but Canada will go up by 2 Brogden Cups, I think, at the end of this year.
That was a nice little play right there. Dowick to Boyd in the behind the back, and they finish it top shoulder right there, close corner, stick side. It's just a great release from an overhand position. Makes it hard for goalies to understand if they're going high or low.
Ontario 4, USA 2. I want to give a shout out to Lax All-Stars production crew. They've been tremendous this week. It's been cold, rainy here in Jacksonville. Their production crew has just been outstanding to deliver this broadcast to the world, and real thankful for it. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, and shout out to them too. I think the fan base that we reached was a lot more than expected. I think having this be our first one that we're really live streaming and reaching that fan base should be exciting for fans in Canada and in the United States.
Yeah, Timmy, as of last night, after yesterday's competitions, there were over 30,000 viewers.
Wow.
Tuned in to watch the competition of the last 2 days, and we'll see what today brings.
Those are impressive numbers, Joel. That's a great first experience with the live stream and getting the product, out there to others, not just the live, participation.
Well, we're grateful to be able to do this. We couldn't do it without the help of our sponsors, Maverick and Cascade Lacrosse.
Yeah, we had the live stream earlier this morning at 8 a.m. for the U17 Girls Brogden Cup. This is expanded into the younger age group. The U15 boys having their first year, and the U17 high school age girls the last 2 years being invited to this Brogden Cup.
Another sneaky shot by Ian Evans. He is very crafty on that little left side, and he doesn't need much room. He can score from the goal line extended to the 5-and-5. It doesn't matter to him.
Again, with size, it's how you feel. It's how big you feel, not necessarily the inches you're measured by. He's
a competitor. That's
great
all
example of that. Yeah.
He is a competitor.
Yeah. Well, they got a good shot there by Barilla feeding the ball inside. They found the open space and the save there by Dobson. He came up big again and
just stood strong. He didn't go with the drop of the stick, and he stayed high with his stick, and the ball delivered right back to where he was in position.
Yeah, another big story of this Brogden Cup is the Cascade helmets. These kids love those helmets.
Yeah, that S helmet's a very, very nice helmet to wear, and it's very protective.
That's their newest model, right?
Correct. This is a nice little clear right here. They're starting to use what we were talking about earlier.
Oh, he's got him underneath.
There it is.
Oh,
it's
that little flick shot. Sometimes a little too early. Maybe he could have made another fake, but
I think he had the close pipe. If he just wanted to go overhand, he could have given that little hand fake and close pipe. The guy was out of position. Dobson was a little bit out of position.
Yeah.
To the back right pipe.
Ian Evans hasn't missed many of those.
Nope.
Yeah, I'm not going
to
question Ian Evans on his choice of there. I think he saw something and just good save
That's
by
right.
Dobson.
Sometimes somebody matches another great play.
Yeah. Well, here's USA on the clear. Looks like they can get out here. You just got one man to beat, and they're going to get the ball on offense, carrying it down, maybe spin it through X here.
Tough handle right there. That's a good hands. Good hands to receive that one. That was off the turf.
Yeah, so Joel Franklin.
I love that little step-out dodge that Reamer uses. He gets into the man, then he steps back, and then he goes again. It's a nice little re-dodge action off a little bit of a rocker move.
Yeah, so off the top of your head, Joel, any tryouts coming up soon here for the boys or the girls?
Yeah, we have a full schedule coming up next week, January 7th. We're at Duke University for the girls and the boys for Carolina.
Okay.
We're in Colorado at the end of the month on January 27th. We're going to take a break for the U.S. Lacrosse Convention in Baltimore January 21st. And then February, we're every weekend, New England, Wisconsin.
And you're up in Canada for a tryout there this year, right? To pull the Ontario team. Is there going to be an Ontario team?
Yeah, there is.
In the national event, right?
It's in February, actually, is the tryout up in Ontario.
Okay.
Joel, where could somebody find the list of tryout dates and places to be so they can stay up to date with getting to one of these tryouts?
That was the best question you asked for the last 3 days.
www.nationallacrosseclassic.com.
Nationallacrosseclassic.com has all of the schedules for regional qualifiers about the event. There's video, there's media. All the information can be found at nationallacrosseclassic.com.
And every time I want to find it, I go to a search engine. I just put in NLC Lacrosse, and it's the first thing that pops up. You go in there, kind of navigate the website. There's a bunch of information there. You go to events. You pick your age group, your boys or girls, and the age group, and it will list all the states of where they're holding the tryouts. They do it at a great price point. It's one of the best events in the country to make it through these steps. Joel Franklin brought up yesterday that this is based on inspiring young kids, fans, people, whoever, and each step of the way is sort of a new inspiring step. And I think that's one of the things that this event does better than anybody.
Well, it comes from the education piece that's put together the first few days with the younger group, with the middle school group, and the kids that get to work with college coaches and stations and actually learn what the college coaches are looking for as a player develops. And I think that's been a great addition to what the original event was, with teams coming from different areas and competing. That was a great idea. But bringing in that second tier of getting the young guys wrapped in with college coaches and learning, I think has been a great addition to the process.
And Legacy Global Sports is always adding a new thing, it seems, to the event to enhance the experience that the families are having and the kids at the event. Joel, you have any of the specific things in mind you want to bring up?
Actually, tomorrow here on the campus at Jacksonville University, Cascade is sponsoring the National Prospect Elite 80. Both of you guys here, that are, you're familiar with it. You're both college coaches, and you're going to be helping work the event. Cascade has put their brand on this elite level event. This is an invited for players that are invited, based on an assessment of their body of work, if you will, including their academics, their athletics, their community service, coaches' recommendations. And then they've been invited down here to play. It's girls and boys, 2018s and 19s only. So these are the last shot going into college, and these are some of the best players right now still looking for a fit.
And the kids are nominated. There's a selection committee that looks at not just who they are on the field, but their grades, other things in the community, stuff like that, as to pick these players to come be a part of that event.
Yeah, the Cascade National Prospect Elite 80 is true. It's going into our third year, with it, and college coaches that have attended the event during the summer have they rave about the quality of the player that we're finding.
Yeah, and this is the southeast region that'll be here tomorrow. I know that the coaches here that are helping with these players are from all the NCAA schools here in Florida. We have 6 Division II schools. Jacksonville is going to have one of their coaches here from Jacksonville University. St. Leo, Florida Southern, Florida Tech, Rollins, Flagler University, Tampa, and Florida Launch assistant offensive coordinator Brian Duncan will be here as well.
Hey, if you guys can spend a little bit of time, let's talk about some of the new NCAA recruiting rules and regulations, and how it may affect some of these players as well as college coaches. I mean, we are here on a Division I campus at Jacksonville University. It is a dark period, so Jacksonville's head coach is not going to be here. Not allowed to take a look during that dead period. Brian, what can you tell us about this, about the rules?
Well, I think the new rules are good for the youth, the middle school guys that have been worried and trying to do all these different tournaments and showcases at such a young age, and then being pressured, not necessarily pressured by the coaches, but pressured by themselves to want to pick a space when they're really not knowledgeable what a college represents or what it is and why you go and what the experience is. So I believe it helps the youth, and I've never had a problem with a coach wanting a good player no matter what age they are. That's not my issue with any of it. It's more about the kids, the feeling the pressure of making a choice early and then finding out later that, you know, maybe they've fallen off of the excitement level of that school at a 12th grade level, and then they have to find something different because they know that maybe another player's been recruited in that's been better. It puts pressure on the players.
Okay, so if your son or daughter, let's just say you have a son and daughter in 9th grade, what would you be encouraging them to do right now?
Oh, I would want them to get out and do the showcase materials. I just don't want them to have the pressure to make a choice of a college because they're making them make a verbal at the 9th and 8th grade level it got to. And I think that 11th grade, it allows them to mature a little more, get to that 11th grade year, make some choices without having to be verbally committed to something maybe they thought they wanted at a younger age. So it gives them a chance to mature, and they can really make a choice that maybe lasts this time. You know, I see too many kids, they get recruited, they go to a college, and then they transfer out immediately. And that's hard on the parents, it's hard on the player, and I just think that's the part that's helped out with this new rule.
Yeah, I mean, the process really created that pressure, and now that the process is different, it should help everybody, the coaches and the players.
Well, we're back in action here. We had a 4-2 halftime lead by Canada. USA with the first face-off.
And 4-2, third quarter. USA has the ball behind the cage. They're setting up their 6-on-6 offense, so it's all even situation. Canada, again, just putting that little bit of pressure, see if they can't goat the USA guys into some bad fundamentals. But it looks like they're feeling a little bit more confident here. Good dodge down the wing, some ball movement. And
That's
a big shot by Barilla.
Great save. Great save. He's a lefty. The lefty came in the cage, and they put it back to his stick side on that shot.
Yep, so Canada put it in. Their other goalie here, Creaser. Am I saying that right?
Yep.
Caleb
Creaser.
Gotcha. So Caleb Creaser in the goal for Canada, comes up with that first save. He's a lefty. Canada gets the clear, so now they're on offense. Setting up with that big unit of attack here with Cormier and Knox.
Well, it looks like they've moved Knox up to the midfield now, and 6 has kind of moved into the attack spot. What's number 6? His name's Mitchell Taylor.
Yep, saved by Haluka there. He is getting pressure, though. They've got a good ride going. Oh, they almost give the ball up. Looks like they do give the ball up, and it turns into a goal.
And how quick it can happen off a turnover in the middle of the field, which is why a lot of times teams are taught not to move, miss the ball in that middle of the field. Don't put the ball to the middle of the field in a clearing scenario, because if it's a turnover, it's usually right back down your throat.
Again, I hear you say it all the time, Coach Duncan, about supporting the ball on both sides. That ride was not a 10-man ride. It was not everybody covered, but the guy in the middle was covered, and they need to work the ball out to the side. Right. You have to support the ball all the time, and I love some of the fundamentals you teach. I mean, anybody that can be a part of something you're doing, there's little things like that just go a long way.
It usually breaks down to the little fundamentals during a game that make a tight competition, either a win or a loss.
Yep. Oh, Latore had his chance at that ball, and he just barely missed it. So Canada's going to come up with the ball in the face-off with a 5-2 lead.
Aggressively going to the cage.
USA is going to want to just play some sturdy defense and get the save. And now they need to keep the ball here.
Now they got a little break here right down the middle of the field. It's a fast if he wants to push it.
He finds underneath, and you don't want to say that was a force, but sometimes you need the ball more than you need to take a risk.
Well, it looked like the 2-on-1 was on his left side, not necessarily the right side on that one as well. He kind of threw it to the covered man instead of to the guy that was open right in front of him.
Well, Haluka came up with the save on the last offensive set, and giving his team a chance. He's going to have to do it again here, or the USA defense just going to have to do it themselves, getting the ball on the ground. There's no sense of sitting there hoping that Canada's going to throw the ball away. They don't do that very much.
It's tough to keep giving these guys possessions, just the way they meticulously run their offense, and lots of shallow cuts, a lot of little slips off the pick. Techniques they use in the indoor game a lot, so they just kind of bring their indoor game to the outdoor field, and it's pretty effective for them. And the United States teams aren't used to playing that style. It takes a little while to get used to.
Cormier with the lefty sweep. He just misses the shot. They had Moyer on the lefty sweep on the last one. I mean, that's a position where they have three guys that are big, strong guys, that when they get running that direction, you got to stop them from the U.S. because they get quality shots.
Yeah, they can't get to the middle of the field, which is one rule to most defenses.
Here's that pick game, the slip underneath. They're holding them there.
They defended that one well.
Good communication. He's trying to sneak in. Oh, and he gets it.
Looked like he stepped in the crease. Stepped in the crease.
So the refs are right on top of that call. Moyer with a nifty move underneath, but he just steps in the crease. And USA trying to clear it again. They really need to keep this ball. They missed the ground ball. It's on the ground again.
It's still down.
See if they can't work for it.
Keep working.
Keep trying. Don't let him out. It's good pressure, but he makes it through. That was number 9, Liam Ferris. I don't remember seeing his name a whole lot, but that looked like a good, strong kid running down the field there. He gets that ground ball and gets the clear for Canada.
I think he's been playing a lot in the defensive midi role and getting the ball in transition up the field. He's been strong all week.
You know, that's a position where sometimes you don't mention them much, but they can be the story of the game.
That means he's doing his job.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Yep.
It's like an offensive lineman in football. If you're not saying his name, he's doing his job.
It's the people behind the scenes that are the ones that are holding it up sturdy.
What a tough move.
Cormier is so trying to beat everybody
out of his stick. He is so tough when he gets to the inside.
Well, USA doing a great job there denying him. You got a couple kids getting their stick in there, lifting his stick up, and you get another player over there trying to check his stick, and then you just keep bodying him. They might see him through. He's open.
You know, the off-ball play that you watch in a Canadian offense, it's constant motion and movement, recircling. You know, they just do a lot of things to change where they are in their space, but they continue to end up in the right space so that the ball can continue to move on the perimeter quickly to look inside late. And I just think that's so valuable when you're playing offense, to have that perimeter ball movement and looking inside late. We get tempted to want to throw the ball inside early. Ball gets checked down, and then it's a transition going the other way most of the time.
Yeah. I tell you, what we're talking about here reflects also over into the World Games 3 years ago in Colorado. I mean, USA won every game. They looked like they were unstoppable, and Canada coming out for that championship game and playing that exact style that you're saying, and tough-nosed lacrosse, and able to take it to the U.S. They've had bragging rights for the last 3 years. Next year, I believe the World Games are going to be in Israel, right?
Great play by 21. Who is that on defense there? Noah Arneson?
That's Noah Arneson.
That was an incredible check there. He took the stick completely out of Cormier's hand. They've changed that matchup a little bit. Turnover.
Another clear. These guys have got to get that together.
They're not helping their defense out, I can tell you that.
And a coast-to-coast run by Noah
and another turnover.
They gave it right back to him.
They just keep giving them chances, and that you can't do with a Canadian offense. They want to put the ball in the net.
Well, with 7 minutes left in the third quarter, the score is 5-2. This has to be a little bit frustrating for Coach Whipple, and
plenty of time with a 3-goal lead.
They need to use a timeout, but they might want to dig into their team a little bit here. That's just careless stuff going on.
Yeah.
Now they have to support them.
You just got to make these little plays right here. You got to get the ball out, get it down
the
side of the field. I like this. Now you're bringing it down the side. Good space by breaking out.
And they might want to just keep a little bit of this momentum and see if they can't get their run going by taking a little time off the clock, holding the ball, and not necessarily stalling, but make sure they have the ball.
Yeah, well, we talked about that yesterday, about the game of runs, and lacrosse is a big game of runs. So if they can stop this 3-goal run that Canada's on, get one and start their own, this game gets back into a competitive environment.
My sense here as a coach is I would call a timeout when you get the ball. They need to keep it. It was another careless pass. Good ride here. Good pressure.
What a great job by Ian Evans again. He made a save.
Oh, what a save.
He either dropped it or made a save. I'm not sure.
Ian Evans is going back for it again. He's trying.
He is just.
That little gutsy guy.
He is relentless.
Putting it out on the field. Almost, he gave his team a chance, just not able to finish on the doorstep.
So much respect from a coach's point of view of what that young man brings to the field.
Do we know where Ian Evans is going next year, or what year he is?
We're not sure where he's going.
Let me see if I can look that up.
If he's not going somewhere, he needs to be picked up quickly because he is a heck of a player, and size does not determine what his success level is going to be.
Well, and that happens. We talked about the process of recruiting and how that it sometimes provides pressure. A guy that's small like that sometimes goes unnoticed. Being from a hotbed up in Rochester, I'm sure that's where he's from, he should have some attention. But, yeah, sometimes D1 guys are overlooking size.
It's a shame because Duke and North Carolina have been very good with a couple undersized guys.
Oh, there's been a couple teams that have really benefited from that.
Let's see if the U.S. defense can get a stop here. Very tough when you're playing a offense that moves the ball so quickly and has shooters what they have on the outside. They got some guys that can really bring it. Peshko's been very impressive. He's got a very quick release off of his shooting stroke, and he's been very accurate to the high part of the cage this week. Another good save.
So I'm going here to NLC Lacrosse and just put in that search engine, pulling up the National Lacrosse Class and going to the Brogden Cup to see if I can find this roster here.
Clear to Knox. He's carrying it over the midfield. Big, strong fake to the left. Cormier with the ball. They had a man advantage. Now it's back to an even set. They don't need a lot of room to get their shots off, Coach King. They get to their spot, and they know that they're at their spot. Their hands are ready, and they're just letting the ball go.
Yeah.
Got a good sweep coming underneath. If you watch the way Moyer set that pick, he was running at, wow, what a goal. He went through about 3 or 4 different check guys and went over the shoulder, looked like falling down and ball in the net. But I really liked how Moyer set his pick. He got all the way to where he was going to set it, but then he flashed underneath, kind of spun off the pick even before it was set. A little bit of a slip motion underneath, and in his motion, he was able to actually create a problem with the slide, and he was able to create a problem with the guy on ball. So his hands were completely free when he came past that little movement by Moyer. So you really got to give the assist to 13 on that goal.
Great explanation there. So this is a little bit lower scoring affair than the last 2 games, but 6-2 up now by Canada with 3 minutes left in the third quarter. USA get a face-off here and at least going to control the ball. Kelly trying to force his shot, and USA runs it out and backs it up behind. So they still keep the ball here. Let's see if they can get some momentum back by getting this 6-on-6 goal and bring it to a 6-3 game. They missed the last chance created by Evans. He's out of the game now. So they're going with a little bit different attack here. See if some fresh legs maybe can spark something. Barilla with a shot that goes right to the goalie. Number 1, Caleb Creaser. Now he's clearing the ball by himself.
He's coming all the way down. Love to see the aggressive goalie play, especially when you have a little lead. And go out and have a little fun with the game as well.
Yeah. Well, like we were saying earlier, it's
Good
not just
defensive
about
game.
stopping shots for the goalie, and being good on the clear, even if it was him bringing himself, is another important part. Oh, ground ball in front. No, they don't have a chance to get it. And Canada looking to find the opening. There is a flag on the field.
Down.
It's got to – no. Looks like it might be on U.S.
Not sure what the call
I'm not
was
sure
there.
what it is either. It saw that he signaled 1 minute, and it looks like it the
It's
Canadian
definitely a USA
offensive
guy
players.
that's in the box
Yeah, so
taking a knee.
Canada's going to be on the power play here with an extra man. Let's see how they set this up. USA is in their defensive end and ready. They tried a little hidden ball trick here. Now the ball's up top with Knox. Get it down to Cormier, who misses. A little bit of sidearm on that shot, which didn't seem too usual for him.
No, he's usually very over the top with his delivery, and he just missed. He pulled the ball to the right side, where his bottom right hand pulled to his outside of his body, and ball went where the hand went.
Good bounce shot there. USA kind of stingy on they're ready to rotate.
They're trying to keep that shot
Trying
from the 12
to
to
hold.
14-yard mark and not
Cut
inside
to the
like
middle.
that. That's
Oh.
the problem, is when you get that guy inside and he's 2 to 3 yards away, it's tough to save it.
Yeah, and he got that Canadian offhand shot, it looked like. He came
Yeah,
in
a little
lefty,
twister.
able to twist it over that right side and get the shot off. Good cut into the middle.
Yeah, that's a
And-
nice little shot he just had there.
Yeah,
Nice finish.
one hand and one stick on the player as he's cutting, and that's not going to do it.
It's a nice assist by Boyden behind the goal.
Yeah, so Canada improves their lead to 7-2 and improves their defeating of the U.S. team here in the third game after winning the first two. There's 30 seconds left here in the third quarter. Let's hope that USA wants to push back in the fourth quarter and keep giving them a game here.
Got a little break here if they could.
Tori just can't find the handle. He was big in the first two games.
Nice
on
ground
those
ball by
great
Raymer. I
ground
love how
ball.
he moved that ball right out of the ground ball. He moves it to an open teammate.
Yep, Evans back on the field. He's cutting down the backside, and Kelly decides to shoot it. Oh, seconds wound down. He kind of had to.
Yep, into the quarter, had to take that shot.
Yep,
Into the 3, 7-2, Canada.
7-2. I mean, we'd love to see the comeback the way U.S. did last game and get it to be a 1-2 goal game and maybe push for stealing one from Canada here. You never know. So we'll see. So it looks like we're going to go to commercial, and we'll be back in about 2 minutes here with the fourth quarter of our third game of the 2018 Brogden Cup.
I've always worn Cascades. I've got pictures of my first helmets back when it was sport helmets. My dad, I was really fortunate. Every birthday, he would get me the latest Cascade, so that was always something I could look forward to. So I was always in the best helmet that Cascade made. My teammates were always envious of me.
You know, I've been wearing a Cascade helmet since my first time in 5th grade and haven't looked back or changed, and wore it in college, wore it in the pros. So.
Yeah, I've always worn Cascade. Anytime I've even tried anything else on, I've never liked it. I don't really like the look of other helmets.
Growing up, Cascades were always the helmet of choice for me. I mean, I remember I just got into the game when they first got rid of the buckets, so the tie backs back in the day. When the first Cascade came out, that was wild, it was revolutionary.
I've only worn Cascade. I have no interest in trying on any other helmet. I feel like when you're already wearing the best helmet that looks the best and feels the best, then what's the point?
No matter what helmet somebody wears, if they have to wear another one, they're going to tell you that they'd rather be wearing this.
Hello, Lacrosse fans, and welcome back to Florida here at Jacksonville University. We are about to wind up this Brogden Cup for 2018 in the fourth quarter of our third game. The story here is Canada looking for the sweep. It's 7-2 right now in this game. We've seen a couple goals, by Knox, I think, and one by Evans here by the U.S. We're starting with the opening or the face-off for the fourth quarter now.
changed up their
Quick.
face-off guy and put Peshko there, and he got us a nice win. And look at that, give and go for the goal.
Give and go break to start, and that's not what USA wanted to see. So Canada keeps putting it on.
Tell you, the Peshko guy who's going to Hopkins, he's going to be a handful in college as well. He's very, very strong for as tall and thin as he is. But, man, I tell you, put him in the weight room for a year or two at Hopkins, and he is going to be a handful for Division I opponents.
Yeah, well, right now Canada has diverse scoring here happening from several of their players. Looks like Cormier with 1, Bowden with 1, Peshko with 1, Dawick with 2, Moyer with 1, and Knox with 1. So they've certainly spread it out today. Yep, several guys contributing.
And that's what makes a team offense so dangerous, is when you can have 4, 5, 6 different contributors to the point totals each game. It's very hard to game plan against anything like that. And you go over and you adjust to one thing, they bring out a different look. And they just have so many good players that they can go to in this lineup.
Yeah, I know. We were out there on the field where you had the Florida All-Star team and an exhibition, little friendly play against Canada. And as a coach sitting there watching that Canadian offense going, all right, who do we need to stop? And you kind of look at each other and go, well, everybody.
Yeah, that was kind of the conclusion we had last night. And I think that game ended up 13-6 or 13-7, and the Florida All-Star team really got a good dose of what the Canadian style of play was, and they went out there and competed against them. It was really nice to see. And, in the second game we got to play against the USA team, and the Florida All-Star team scored a 14-4 win later that night. And they really played well, just being 2 games into knowing each other.
What a great experience for the Florida kids. I know we talked in the second game about the path that Rochester took to get here, and Florida has kept inching up in the National Lacrosse Classic each summer, making it to the semifinals a year or two before, and then making it a championship last year against Rochester. They didn't really seem to have the energy in that last game to get over the top, but with this experience in the Brogden Cup and a couple players getting excited about the tryouts here, you never know. I mean, you could see Florida on their home field to play Canada in a couple years.
Yeah, that would be a great growth for the area. I know when we got here, I was telling you yesterday, the FHSA only had 90 teams playing out throughout the state of Florida. In 8 years of being here since starting JU with Coach Kerwick, it's grown to over 200 schools playing in the state of Florida, and the coaching tree that's coming down to the state, moving from the north to the south. Guys are starting to see the nice part of Florida about being able to play all year long, the weather. Good athletes, if we can just continue to grow the IQ of the game and bring down a little northern flavor to the culture of what the game's supposed to represent, I believe Florida could be a hotbed as well, recruiting in the future.
Yeah, and the system that the Legacy Global Sports uses for their tryout process here in Florida, which is a unique one, different than anybody else doing it. They hold regional tryouts in either 3 or 4 sections of the state, being the west, the north, the south, or the central area. And then they have a series they call their Pride Games, where you bring those regions together and they play in an event called the Pride Games, where the 3 regions or 4 regions play for that pride. And last year we talked about teaming up with the Florida launch and possibly having that game with a home game here by the launch. And maybe this year that'll come together. I think it's great promotion for the sport as a whole, a promotion for the pro team that represents Florida here, and a promotion for great high school and middle school lacrosse in the state of Florida.
Well, it's been what I've enjoyed the most about being in Florida. I came from Essex Community College in 2009 and, had a great run there and had a fun time coaching the junior college level, and came down and helped with the Division I startup here at JU. And I've been around the state now for 8 years, and to watch the growth and to be able to be involved with kids from 7 years old all the way to the pro level in our state. It's just been an incredible experience to learn from different people, learn about yourself a little bit, and just continue to give back to the game that gave you so much when you're growing up. I know, for myself, I was a high school football player, and I thought I wanted to play football in college. And I didn't. I was vertically challenged, as we joked yesterday, and the football teams kind of turned a shoulder, and lacrosse teams started showing to me a little bit in my senior year, and I ended up at UMBC, and I got a full tuition scholarship after picking up a stick in 9th grade, and that was just an incredible gift that was given to me that I just want to share with others. And I think that's why I love being out on the field so often, and I think you know my schedule. I'm on the field quite a bit, and I just love giving back to every level, every age.
Always on the move, always on the move. Well, I think this is actually a good time for Coach Duncan and myself to give a shout-out to our daughters, Allie King and Bailey Duncan, who I'm not really sure where they are actually today in the world. I think my daughter's in Utah, and yours is in North Carolina, but just want to say hello to them. Well, Canada with a nifty pass there to a quick stick and almost find the cage. Score is still 8-3, 10 minutes left in this final quarter of the Brogden Cup.
Good defense behind the goal with a little lift check under the hand, and ball came out. Goalie's out to Ian Evans. Ian Evans is now out in the midfield, probably trying to match up on a couple short stick matchups, which he's very good with.
I think also put that heart on the field where they need it, getting ground balls and keeping the ball in their offensive end. I mean, he was scrapping all over, and now he's going to get a chance to get it all over the field.
Yep, and he gets the ball cleared that time, nice and clean.
Yeah, so the Coach Whipples are going into their toolbox, seeing what they can find here to try and scrap together a couple goals, maybe get that run and put some excitement into this game. Looks like Baker's trying his hand, big body, muscle his way in. Now, a little bit of a force, I think, there, although he had position, so maybe this call is going to go to him. Nope,
looks like they called him in the crease, and yeah, he had a nice little finish move there at the end, just happened to hit it off the pipe, you know.
Well, and having position, sometimes you get that call, you know, the push from behind, you force the action. Canadian defenseman had no choice but to keep pressure on him, but ref didn't see it that way, so now Canada has the ball. They're clearing it. There's still a bit of a ride happening here by USL, but they gave up the easy pass.
Again, you know, we've seen Canada take away that pass in the clearing game, which has created a lot of turnover scenarios for the U.S. in the clearing game. So it's just one of those little fundamentals that you love to teach a defense, that if the ball's coming to your side, push out. Don't let the attackman be the easy out, because once the ball's in their stick, usually the ball settles down.
Yeah, you know, a tough thing for your team is when you got one guy or two or three guys fighting hard to get a ball or turn a team back, and then one guy's just not covering their man. It takes every player on the field, 10 of them, to all work in unison to make a play happen.
Especially in the ride, you know, because on the offense or defensive end, you know, you're outmanned, so you have to work extremely hard and make sure that ball continues to move up the field.
Yeah. Well, U.S. looking for the clear here. They go for a big pass, and it doesn't find its mark. Again, it's been plaguing the U.S. this whole Brogden Cup. You know, looking for shorter passes. I'm not sure whether that's really the goalie's fault on the pass. It's more just decision-making and going to find open areas on the field. We watch these Canadian players. They throw the ball to an open area, even if their player's not there yet. And, you know, maybe that's something just in this game that USA team can learn from. But certainly all of us can learn from that on how to be savvy in playing this sport.
Well, I think if the U.S. goes back and watches the film on all this and wanted to learn something from it, it would be purely about the clearing game.
Yeah,
I think that's been the breakdown that's given, you know, Canada at certain moments the ability to make plays and continue to pull away from the from the USA team.
Yeah, Knox with a big power dodge there, gets to his left hand, but he puts it off the pipe. Goalie holding a good position there by Haluka, and they were able to keep away that goal. Let's see if they can stay true, stay sturdy. Don't let. Yep. Oh, that got through. I really thought Haluka had his stick on that pass, but it finds Knox in the crease.
He goes behind the back to finish the ball, and that ball was one of those spot passes you were talking about. He's a tall guy. He stuck his stick up in the air, and he threw it across the back of the net over the goalie. So he threw it to a pretty high spot, and he catches and finishes behind the back fluidly.
Yeah, just before the goalie could get his stick up there, Haluka, from my angle, it looked like he actually had his stick on the ball, but it went past his stick, went right to Knox, and then Knox, catching it lefty and running that direction, actually had more angle by putting it behind the back. You know, sometimes coaches are going to yell at their players for taking that shot, but that actually was probably the proper shot to find more angle on the cage.
Yep, he definitely created his angle with the behind the back.
Yeah, so
good ground ball.
USA's working, see if they can't get another ground ball here.
Oh.
They've got a completely different attack in now. They're going to have the ball. Now, look, they still have to clear this ball. They got a guy open in the middle, and an errant pass. Evans is still able to get it. So right now, the shining piece to the USA team, Evans, has the ball in his stick, moves it. USA setting up on their 6-on-6 offense. Just getting it around here.
Yeah, Evans by far has been the Rochester USA MVP. He has been just a very, very talented guy.
USA MVP, I think that's a unanimous look there. I think that some other standout was the goalie play in the first two games by Cuddy and Haluka. They did a very good job. Obviously, we were going over stats earlier, and there were several players who helped contribute. Barilla, Kelly had some great shots in this. So, even though USA is walking away from this without a win, I really think the experience that these kids get to have coming and playing in this is something they can carry forward in whatever they're doing. Kelly with the always trying to lay it up, and that's exciting play. No matter what the score is,
it doesn't matter.
Right?
That was great.
Yeah, and they're alley-ooping back, and they
a big save. It's coming the other way again.
Haluka answers. This is turning into kind of a Globetrotter style end of this game, making some big passes, trying to get the shots.
Nice ground ball there.
Canada's still pressing the ball. You heard their players saying, press that, press that. They still don't want to give anything up with this final 5 minutes left to play in this Brogden Cup. USA, I think, is going to keep pushing for it. I think they want to get another goal here.
I don't know of a team that wouldn't. If you've gone through a situation like this over 2 days, you want to end it on your best note so you can go home and feel proud about your effort.
Well, there's a lot of lacrosse for two teams to play each other only. I mean, the thing about that, though, is it's so intimate. I mean, honestly, these players are playing against each other, but they're getting to know each other so well because they're spending 3 full days playing out here on international rules, a much longer game than the U.S. game or the NCAA game. So it's just a really fulfilling experience, I think, for the coaches. I know I myself was lucky enough to be the coach of the USA team one year. I coached the Maryland team in the national event, and we won and were able to come down here and represent the USA team. And it was just a really rewarding experience, a fulfilling experience.
Well, the friendships that come out of it. These guys will meet each other, and a couple of them will play together in college. A couple of them will play against each other in college, and they'll already have that knowledge of each other, and they get to go up and say hello and create a network of friends, which I think was one of the greatest things of lacrosse is the network of friendships that comes out of it, and it comes from respect. This is a tough game. You're beating on each other with sticks, and you're competing. You're physical. It's mentally draining as a coach and as a player.
Yeah.
And I just think that it's one of those sports that when you compete against each other and you become friends, there's a certain respect there that goes both ways. That it's different than just a friendship or walking out on the street and meeting somebody.
Yeah.
It's an earned respect, I would say.
There's no doubt about that. I don't think that the physicality comes with animosity. It comes with competition, and then the respect for someone that gave you a good fight. Sometimes it's how best friends are made.
Yeah, they're back to doing the little hidden ball trick again, trying to keep it tricky. They're pretty good at this.
It's interesting how they do it. It's always fun to see how they do it. I saw one.
The guy up top has the ball, of course, after 3 other guys showed that they had the ball.
Puts a little bit of doubt in your mind, though. You're not
it.
really certain.
You got to think. You got to call out a number. We always used to raise a hand when we knew the guy that had the ball. That way everybody knew.
Oh, well, that's a good signal for that.
Raise a hand if you know your man has the ball and knows.
Don't they do that too if they heard a Duncan story? Raise your hand if you heard the Duncan story.
Yeah.
Well, good cut there, and then they find Cormier on the outside.
Great look back. I love that when an ex-attackman will receive the ball, take a step or two, and then check back where the ball came from.
Right.
It's a look that's there a lot that guys just miss because defenders have to kind of come back inside to help the passing lanes, and if they take too many steps too quickly, that throwback is a great look. And you see a lot of the New York teams run it, a lot of the Canadian teams, and I think it's because they're schooled to look at it and make sure that they check that shoulder before they throw the ball forward.
Yeah, well, they're pushing the opposite side, so that becomes the strong side of the field. And as the defense moves over to cover the strong side of the field, sometimes you still have that space to just get it back there. And, of course, that's the guy you want to have shooting the ball anyway. They hit Cormier on that left side.
Yeah, I think I'd throw it to him.
Yeah.
Nice, tough ground ball.
They're still scrapping for it. I mean, there's only less than 2 minutes left. These guys are going to play all the way out.
Oh, nice save
big
off
save
the long
by
stick.
Haluka.
Yeah.
Let's see if he can find the clear. He's looking for the big pass. Latorre is open in front.
All
he
had to do
just
is
can't find the handle.
Yep, just had to catch it.
I think the 3 days are kind of wearing on him a bit. He was just a beast in the first 2 games, and right now he's just having a hard time finding the ball.
Fatigue, right? Fatigue
well,
after this many minutes of playing the game at this kind of level. It's bound to catch up to you at some point.
Yeah, the mental aspect of it. I mean, you're trying to keep yourself energized. You put up a great fight in the first 2 games to see if you couldn't be the team that, represents winning the cup, and it didn't happen. So now you got to get through, I think it was 15 minutes we did for this game. So
right, it was 15
60
running
minutes of running time. And
we're under a minute now, 50 seconds left in the game. This has been a lot of fun calling these games, watching these incredibly talented players. I'm really curious to watch a lot of these guys play in college and see where they end up. As you know, a lot of them will.
Oh, they certainly will. And Joel Franklin says it every time we have a tryout. There is a place for everybody who comes to the National Lacrosse Classic tryouts, now sponsored by Maverick and Cascade. We have several tryouts coming up this year. You have a whole year to go to the website and find where those tryouts are. There are some times where you can go to a different state if it's not your state that the tryout is being held in. You can try out in those different states. I think
the Florida tryouts are going to be right there at the beginning of April. Usually end of April, 1st of May or so, we'll be holding those tryouts for Florida.
Okay, so again, just to reiterate, if you like what you're seeing here at the Brogden Cup, your chance to inspire yourself to go for a tryout for representing your state and your team in the National Lacrosse Classic. Again, the event happens in the summer. It's now moving to Delaware. It's in July this summer, and then the team for the men's group that wins will come back next year for 2019 Brogden Cup. They'll put together, I'm sure, a very, very good Canadian team again for next year. Now, the good news for the USA is that Cormier, I don't think, will be able to play again. He might be past U19, but he might be back. I don't know his age. So even if he's out of high school, he could still come represent Canada.
And so that's a 10-3 final here with Canada on top over the United States. And they had a clean sweep in the Brogden Cup. What a great experience, Coach King.
This has been a great experience. I'm sure that the players, the fans, the coaches all had a great experience here in North Florida. Now it looks like they're going to get a chance to go see the beach a little bit and relax, hopefully put up their feet before they head back home. So signing off, and we will see you next year at the Brogden Cup. Tim King and Brian Duncan signing off.